Wait a minute. Did Katisha and Javen just come here for a free vacation? Because that's definitely what it's giving. They're saying that they need more time and more experiences with each other, but we haven't seen them doing anything, no excursions, nothing to build a connection besides doing the do, okay? And tell me why she's trying to convince us and everybody else that she made the right decision. Girl, we can see you struggling. We can see you internalizing what the hell you just did. Because the fact that everyone is questioning it is now putting doubts in your mind that you made the wrong decision. Talk it.
Kay Unscripted, no teeth restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted and I am your girl Kay. Today we're going to be talking about Love is Blind UK Season 2, Episode 5. This was the shortest episode thus far, but we're going to get into everything that happened on this episode. But before we do so, please go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's talk about this episode. So the episode begins with many of the couples going on different excursions, except Katisha and Javen, and I'm just like, what are y'all doing? Are y'all just here for a vacation? Because that's what it's giving. So we first zoom in on a conversation between Ashley and Billy. Ashley is saying that she's so comfortable with Billy, which feels like they've known each other for a long time. Billy then tells her that he's been so drawn to her, she's one of a kind, and he cannot get enough of her. Now, many of these couples are still in their bubble, and once they get back to real life, a lot of things are going to unfold, which we're going to see happening in the later episodes. The next couple's conversation we zoom into is Kieran and Megan. They're on a yacht. They're both having the time of their life. And Kieran is telling Megan he knows that she hasn't had the best experiences with men, and this is something that he's been mindful of. He also knows that it's going to take time to build trust with Megan. Megan talks about how much of a struggle her mom has gone through with relationships and how that has terrified her so much. Now, I said it before and I'm going to say it again. Before y'all come on these shows, please go and get some therapy, okay? I have definitely been in a situation where I've seen my mom go through certain things and I didn't want that for my life. And that was really scary, but that was also a conversation that I needed to have with my husband before we got married, to set boundaries. And if at any point I see or feel anything that may trigger me or feel like I am going down that path, then this is something that I talked about before getting into marriage. It was also something that I had to learn to work on in myself because I was projecting my insecurities on my husband and that wasn't fair to him. Anyways, Kieran tells Megan that he has fallen in love with her, he loves her, and she said that it's not that she doesn't want to say it, but she feels like the time has to be right for her to say it. Zooming on the conversation between Saruva and Carl. Let me tell you, Carl's accent was so hard for me to understand. Oh my god. I was having difficulty understanding what he was saying, but they get to talking about the fact that Carl has only ever dated white British girls with blue eyes, and that was definitely something that Saruva was insecure about, so I loved that they talked about it. He tells her that this is just the kind of girls that he's dated, and it obviously hasn't worked out for him. Carl pretty much reassures Saruva that types do not exist when you've fallen in love with someone. It doesn't matter what their skin tone is, and he's pretty much telling her that she is his person, he's into her, and he's not thinking about what his typical type is because he has the person that he loves right there with him, ready to get married. I appreciated that conversation between these two, and I love how he just pretty much reassured her and told her, like, you're my girl, I'm into you, and I think we're the strongest couple thus far. I don't know if they are the strongest couple, but we'll see what happens with these two once real life gets into it, right? He also mentions that he did have a conversation with Katisha, and he's saying that he hopes that Katisha made the right decision. Clearly, these couples are seeing some things that we're not seeing. Like I said, I don't feel like Katisha made the right decision, and we're going to see what happens with them a little later on. Let's not jump the gun. Back at the hotel, Katisha and Javen have finally woken up. And she's telling him that she had a conversation with Carl and saying that Carl was kind of confused as to why she made the decision going with Javen as compared to Demola. So Javan just tells her that Kyle is very straight up and he's going to tell you whatever he has on his mind. Then we get to see a conversation between Bardha and Jed. She is saying that in previous relationships, she's always worn the pants. She's always been like the driver. And that's definitely going to be a bit of a conflict for these two because I feel like she's always had to be the tough one. And Jed wants her to be in her soft girl era. He wants to take care of her because she's always taking care of her family. Jed then asked Bardha how would she feel because he's a bit more of a dominant kind of guy and he would like to be the one in control. Not in control, but leading their relationship. She said it's something that she's have to going to get used to because she's always had to take care of herself. These two are definitely going to have to learn to balance things off because there are things that your wife may have to take over in and there are things that your husband will have to take the lead on. I say whatever works for a relationship, go with that. So all of the couples are meeting up together again. Matt and Emma walk in to greet them. Emma tells them that the holiday is almost over and now they're going to have to go back home. Matt tells them that they will be sharing an apartment together, which is going to be the most intense part of the experiment. They're also going to be getting back their phones and all of the devices and also meeting with friends and family, which is going to be the test to their relationships and pretty much determining if they will say I do at the altar. Emma tells them the most important thing is getting married because this is what the experiment is pretty much about. So she's asking them if that scares them having to hear that they're going to be married in just a couple of weeks. Bardha and Jed were like, no. Bardha said, no, let's just get to it. We just have some things to do. Let's do it. Chop, chop, let's get to it. But when they asked Katisha and Javen, Javen said he definitely does want to get married, but if it doesn't work out, the relationship is not over for them. That tells me everything I need to know because they're having doubts. They're both having doubts. And I think at this point, Katisha is probably knowing that she's made the wrong decision because she's seen some things with Javan. She's going to see a lot more. But for now, she's definitely having doubts, in my opinion. Anyways, Emma and Matt make the exit. And then we see all of the guys together. Kieran is saying that he feels like being in the pod made it easier to open up and talk about things, to be vulnerable than being in person. He clearly is feeling some type of way because Megan hasn't said she loves him yet, and so he brings that up to the group. He tells the guys that Megan has never said that she loves someone because she's never been in that tight kind of emotional relationship, but he definitely needs to hear that before the wedding. Javen says, my guy, you're not alone. I haven't said it. She hasn't said it. And for me to say it, it's going to take a lot more experiences. It's going to take a lot more of us spending time together for me to say, I love you. He's not going to say it because he doesn't feel that way about Katisha. Now, Katisha, Saruva, and Bardha are talking about what it's going to be like meeting the families. Megan says she feels like Kieran is going to fit right into her family. Bardha said she and Jed has similar backgrounds, so it's also going to be easy for him to mesh into her family. Bardha also said that she and Jed have had conversations about finances and how he's so proud to be the provider for her. Finances is definitely a conversation that needs to happen before marriage because this is one of the number one reasons why people end up in a divorce. Jed, on the other hand, is telling the guys that Bardha is a very independent woman. She's always had to take care of herself and take care of things, and he's not used to that type of woman. Billy steps in and tells them, guys, the most important thing about making a relationship successful is communicating. If it's bothering you a bit much, a tiny bit, bring it up, talk about it in a healthy manner, and work it out with your partner. Clearly, he's had some experience because he has been in a marriage before, and so he knows what to do to make it work this time around. Javan said that for him, the thing that felt the most weird was seeing Katisha and being around her all the time because it was just so much easier. It was just so much easier in the pond not seeing her and now seeing her all the time, all day, every day. My goodness. Now Billy says, "Oh, I heard you say that if you'll say no, you'll continue to date." He's like, I don't think that's something I can do. To me, if we don't say yes at the altar, I don't see us being in a relationship after that. Billy says, "Look here, we came to this experience to get married, okay? So if the end game is not marriage, then I don't want it." So Javen says he needs a little bit more time, he needs some more experiences with Katisha to get there. So it's telling me that he has no intentions of being married to Katisha. Now, Carl and his messy behind he comes in and he says, "Oh, I understand how you feel because it was such a last minute decision because Demola thought it would have been him. You thought you were going home, but it turned out that Demola went home and you ended up being the guy that was picked. Do you ever think about that?" Carl, you're messy. Javan said that he and Katisha have spoken about it, and for him, in his mind, he's wondering, well, how did you feel that way today and then have a complete different change of mind the next day? Jed says, well, let's think about it on Katisha's side. It was probably a very difficult decision for her to make. And so Carl says, well, yeah, I understand that, but at the same time, she blindsided you. She blindsided you in a good way. So what's going to happen in the future? Can that happen again? Period, Carl. Call him out. Call her out. Period. Carl is asking all of the questions that we're asking and we're needing answers to. So I applaud him for wanting to know what the hell went down and defending his guy, Demola. Because let me tell you, if it was the other way around and it was done to a girl, we will be saying something different. So leave Carl alone. Let him say whatever he needs to say. Now, Ashley is as messy as Carl. Okay, let me tell you. Because in this conversation with Katisha, she's telling her, "Girl, I love you so much, but I'm concerned. The fact that he hasn't said I love you, you haven't said I love you to him. Girl, what is it? What is going on? Is it because you have Demola on your mind?" She's like, "No, no." She tells Ashley that actually Kyle kind of brought that up to me again. But the thing with Demola is that I don't feel like it was fair for me to say yes to somebody knowing that I wouldn't give my all to them. Okay, cool, but you're with somebody who's not willing to give you his all as well. Does that make sense to you? Katisha said that she feels at peace with Javen and she's very comfortable with him. Then she starts to cry when she talks about how chaotic her life has been. And I just feel like she's crying because she's realized that she's dating the same guys that she's went for in her past. That's just how I feel about it, to be honest. She said her decision had nothing to do with Demola. She just wants to be able to be herself. Ashley comforts her, but she also tells her, "Girl, are you going to get married to him? Because this is the guy you've chosen." And she's like, "Yes, I'm ready to marry him. Why are you asking? Is there any doubt that we're going to make it to the end?" Now, you know very well you all are not going to make it to the end. But anyways, Ashley's like, "Girl, this is someone you're picking for the rest of your life." Katisha is trying to convince herself and all of us that she didn't make the decision lightly and she's going to make it to the end. She thought thoroughly about her decision in choosing Javen. But anyways, she's saying, oh, she doesn't want to be a villain. She came here for herself. So you're concerned about being the villain. Okay. So the couples are starting to pack up to head back home. We zoom in on a conversation between Billy and Ashley. He's asking her if she's nervous to meet his family. She said, "No, I'm really ready to meet your big Irish family." However, Billy said he's a little bit nervous because Ashley has never brought a guy to her dad. So he's a little bit nervous as to how that's going to go down from being a boyfriend to being a fiance. Ashley tells him that she will also be very nervous, but she knows that her dad is going to love Billy. Now we're in Katisha and Javen's hotel room. They're talking about all of the deep chats that they've had around their relationship. She tells him that Ashley shared concern as to why she made the decision and how she feels about being in the relationship with Javen. And so she's saying that talking to Ashley, she got very emotional, and Javen interprets that as if Ashley made you cry. No, she cried because of whatever she was talking about. Ashley didn't make her cry. Please stop. Javen tells her, listen, at the end of the day, you're a grown woman, you make your own decisions. So it doesn't really matter what they have to say. It definitely matters because it bothers y'all, what people say and how people see y'all's relationship. So all of the couples fly back to Manchester, which is where they're all going to be living in the same building. So all of the couples are kind of settling into the apartments, and let me tell you, the apartments look beautiful. I love the way the setup was for each of these apartments. But we're at Billy and Ashley's apartments. Billy's saying, so I had to get engaged to you before I even got your number. he's he's funny. Anyways, Ashley's saying that she's a little bit apprehensive because she's never lived with a guy before, and so it's going to be a bit of an adjustment for her living with Billy. They're both saying that they're very nervous about how their family is going to react, and they're just really excited for each other to meet each other's family. We were at Megan and Kieran's apartment, and it was just so cute. The way they interact with each other, and the way Kieran found Megan on Instagram, and how he just was gushing over her pictures. That was such a cute interaction between these two. Now we're at Bardha and Jed's apartment, and I really love to see the way these two are just really acting like the married couple, okay? Jed is preparing one of Bardha's meals that is part of her culture, and the interaction between these two, amazing. Bardha is saying that she's always wanted to settle with someone who appreciates her culture, and the fact that Jed is Lebanese makes it so much easier. Jed said he didn't realize that their cultures were so similar, and it feels like home with Bardha. Aww. We're now at Katisha and Javen's apartment. Now, by the way, we saw him in his corner and her in her corner. We know something went down or something is about to go down. Javen asked her what is going on, what is bothering her. She said the fact that the couples keep bringing up their relationship. She doesn't like that they're building a story for her, making a story for her. And I thought you said you were grown and you made decisions, so why also talking about that? Okay. She's saying that it's none of their business because they keep assuming that they know what's going on between she and Javen and why she made the decisions that she made. Javen, on the other hand, he kind of feels some type of way, and it's starting to sink into him that something just doesn't feel right with the decision that Katisha made, because he knows that he's not invested in Katisha and she should have went with Demela. Javen tells her for him, it's Demela coming in and feeling so confident that he's about to propose to Katisha the next day, and coming back knowing that Katisha broke things off. He's confused as to why that happened, so he wants to know what the conversation was between Katisha and Demela. He tells her there must have been something you told him that made him feel like he was so confident in taking the next step with you. Period. Clock that. Now, Javen senses some resistance from Katisha because she doesn't want to talk about it. And he's like, well, if you don't want to talk about it, it's not a big deal. And she's like, it is a big deal because you keep bringing it up. She says that she feels like what she said to Demela was silly. And now that she's thinking about it, she doesn't know why she said that to him. You don't know why? You know why you said that to him, because that man had been courting you from day one. That man had been telling you, you deserve all of those nice things. You deserve to be loved and cared for and taken care of in the right way. And you told him, yes, I'm going to go with you. So now you don't know why you told him that? Okay, Katisha. She finally tells Javen that she did tell Demela not to worry. And so he says, well, if you tell somebody, don't worry, they're obviously going to be confident that they're going to go to the end with you. Now that Javan is thinking about it, he feels like if she switched up on Demela so quickly, telling him, don't worry, what if she says the same thing to him and switches up on him, just like she did to Demela? So the episode kind of ends off with Billy and Ashley. Well, actually, Billy meeting Ashley's dad. Ashley tells her dad that she's been doing this experiment, and she also tells him that this is not her boyfriend, but it's actually her fiance. She is getting married. Her dad was kind of taken aback, and he's like, I didn't know I was coming here to meet your future husband. Now, this is where the episode ends. We're obviously going to see more of the interaction in episode 2, so tune in to see what goes down with those parents meetings with the fiancés. But tell me how you're feeling about this episode. Share all of your thoughts with me on this one. And as usual, don't forget to like this video. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel for more recaps like this one. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!